That little town in the corner, they hide away in a little nook. Is Aguas Calientes. We are in the cool, cool, cold morning streets of Peru. Oy. I need to get the bus to go to Machu Picchu because we're not walking. And I in my cabs. Morning. Morning. We're rushing because we don't want to miss. If we reach late for our slot, which is 7 o'clock, we can't get in Machu Picchu. Yeah. So we made it on the bus. And as soon as we were coming out, the man was like, Krasha David.
David.
Krasha David. And Pete. The time. On the way. I was in China climbing.
Okay, chicos, please listen your names. Viviana, son 2 personas. Federico.
Feeling excited, we made it. We saw Grace. She's somewhere up there. So she made it as well. So we are in the line, we are in Machu Picchu, and we are in the line to get our passport stamped. You know, wrapping for the trainees. Let's go. Yeah, on the move. Like, cannot feel my legs right now. Imagine walking in the pool.
En internet, in podcast, in different pictures. This one, for example.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Ya llegaste, muy bien. Please, in this moment, we want to start to the highest point. It's like a 10 or 15 minutes walking to the upper part. ¿Ya? Vamos a subir unos 10-15 minutos a la parte alta. Please, up there, we are separate the group.
How are you, dear friend?
oh my
How
god.
long you been waiting for Machu Picchu? How much? Years. 24 years, imagine. That's a lot. The Inca civilization used to arrive by that saddle. Focus over there. There is a saddle, right? Like this?
Yeah.
By that saddle. And there we have the Sun Gate. The Sun Gate, dear friends, it doesn't look like gate like this, no? There are buildings up there. To my perception was kind of road toll.
Okay.
Kind of control before to get into this holy place.
Mm-hmm.
Put in your mind, Machu Picchu was kind of Vatican, and Cusco like Rome. Rome, the capital of the Inca civilization, and this Inca city like Vatican. You know what this means, Vatican?
Yeah.
It's spiritually holy and
Oh,
secret town,
Vatican.
right?
Yeah.
Spiritually and holy because in the urban area there are many temples. And secret, not everyone knows about this Machu Picchu. Only few amount of people.
Okay.
That's why probably at the last moment was easy to keep in secret.
Oh,
So the
okay.
conquerors never came here. The Spaniards they didn't discover Machu Picchu. They didn't have an idea about the existence of this Inca city. That's why like 60, 70, in some situation, 80%, those buildings are still original. So over here, we don't have cathedral or churches, no Catholic cross, for example. And still there are special temples. One of them is like our sundial, Inca sundial. It's still there working.
Okay.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting. And then, so the tour is going to be like this: conversation, 20
Walk.
meters up, another conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Ready.
All right. Let's carry on, dear friend. My name is Samuel, just in case. Yeah.
Okay, Samuel.
Didn't know the existence about this thing, which is interesting. So the name Machu Picchu belongs to the mountain. I'm gonna introduce later Machu Picchu mountain. This one, the opposite, Huayna Picchu. All mountain, Jao mountain.
What does
Picchu means like a mountain or peak. So, to my perception, once they arrive here as a first time, of course, the Inca civilization begins in Cusco. Please let them pass. Yeah, the Inca civilization begins in Cusco, right? So, once they arrive here as a first time, probably 500 years ago, or probably more, yeah, they felt the same what you are feeling right now. So the temperature was different. So they have to take off the layers. Once they take off the layers, yeah, like ponchos, capes, scarves, hoodies probably at that time. Once they take off, they try the first mosquito bites for example. Because when the sun is hitting too much, we have mosquitoes over here. Imagine 500 years ago looking for repellent. Or repellent. That is anthropology. And if we think like that, we're gonna understand better how Inca civilization used to develop in this environment, highland or coastland or wherever there are Inca evidences or Inca influence.
Yeah.
And then once they arrive here, the idea was to adapt very well, quickly, as much as possible to this environment. What they do first, every one of them, they began to harvest their own crop, for example. So, all the way along this valley, local people used to bring different kind of crops by llamas.
Okay.
Every llama, 60, 70 pounds probably on his back, like 30 kilograms.
Yes,
Yeah.
by llamas, but they had to walk themselves too.
Yeah, of course. It's quite interesting how along this, no worries, how along this valley on the Inca Trail, every 20 kilometers, for example, there is a real resting place. Every 20.
That still exists?
Yes. Ollantaytambo was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the town where you get the train.
Oh, really?
Ollantaytambo, Machu Picchu, only one day. Of course, by the next to the river. If you do the other Inca Trail, it takes longer.
Yeah.
But imagine, from Ollantaytambo, 50 or 60 llamas coming all the way along this valley. In some situation, they brought soil. We're gonna say farming lands, farming terraces. That soil of that farming lands doesn't belong to this area. It belongs to sacred. Archaeologists, they register until nowadays more than 60 Inca remains in this area. Machu Picchu is the biggest one. That's why it's considered like capital of this cloud forest area. This is cloud forest area. And then 60 Inca remains. That's a lot. Many of them, as I told you, like 60-70% original. Exactly, there is a Peruvian famous, there was a Peruvian famous archaeologist who came here in 1940, Julio Cesar Tello, for us like father of the archaeologists. He called this area as a paradise for archaeologists. Why? Because the evidences are pure, without contamination. As I told you, the conquerors, they didn't destroy any building.
Oh, my word. Oh my god.
No, tranqui, tranqui.
Okay.
¿Cómo se llama? Ah, tenemos que seguir.
That's why probably my ancestor they build every 20 kilometers a resting place. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah. In some situations, Inca civilization used to follow the llama path, for example. Why? Because the llamas has the highly developed of sense. Llamas can sense where is water, where is the best grass. Like our ancestor, right? Exactly the same. In some situation, used to follow the llama. Dear friends, let me introduce Machu Picchu mountain up there. That is Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu. And the opposite, this one. Careful with the pronunciation. Is Machu Picchu. Say Picchu like that, exactly, with double C. Because if you say Pichu, Pichu in Quechua language means penis. Pichu.
Picchu.
No Pichu. Huh?
Picchu.
Excellent.
Picchu.
Yeah. Careful.
Picchu.
Alright, one more minute, dear friends.
Oh God, layers are off. Off. As you can see, me and Ashe. Right now. No man stands alone. We all need each other. We must.
This river that we saw on this side is the same one. So it's coming all the way around Huayna Picchu Mountain. Which is interesting. So, two interesting reasons why my ancestors they built villages like this above the mountains. Remember, 500 years ago, dear friends, no human rights, no laws, right? If someone wants to get the control of one civilization like this, Inca or pre-Inca, anyway, they have to be tyrant, aggressive militaries. So the king who built Machu Picchu, according to the historian people, according to archaeologists as well, is Pachacutec. The Night King. Yes. Yeah, it's the king who commanded a group of workers to build Machu Picchu, group of engineers, architects as well. So he got the power according to historian people like 1438, 1439. Probably 10 or 15 or 20 years later, he commanded a group of workers to build this Inca city. Because according to carbon date evidence about this place, we have since 1450. Yeah, probably 10 or 15 years later, he commanded workers to build this Inca city. And geologists mention it takes more than 50 years to build Machu Picchu. 50 years. Imagine 2 or 3 generations of king as well. And then Machu Picchu was discovered by accidentally. By accidentally, dear friends, because the scientific discovery of Machu Picchu, Hiram Bingham, an American guy, he was looking El Dorado. El Dorado is like a kind of Inca village or Inca town made out of gold, Inca city with treasures, Yeah, practically made it of gold and silver. That is El Dorado. In four countries in South America exist that tells about El Dorado. Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, and Peru. So every one of those countries mentioned. So El Dorado is located in this and this like this. But we don't know exactly where is El Dorado. But talking about the last Inca city, it's called Vilcabamba. Vilcabamba is a town of resistance. For us, like kind of refuge town. It was at that time, of course. So, talking about the discovery of Machu Picchu before, we have to talk about Vilcabamba. Vilcabamba is a town of resistance. So the revolution begins in 1536, 4 years later. So the conquerors came to Cusco in 1532. 4 years later, Manco Inca, the puppet king, was a puppet in the beginning because he was working for them collecting gold and silver. Once, after a while, the last king was baptized by the conquerors and then executed. So Manco Inca, he begins the revolution. And he said, I'm not going to be any more puppet.
Right.
Yeah? And then the idea of Manco Inca was to burn Cusco. And the resistant people, of course. They didn't burn very well Cusco, but they stole from Cusco's horses, arquebuses, swords, and arrows.
Okay.
Imagine an Inca king riding a horse in Ollantaytambo, yes, a sword on his hand, and then a crown made of feather of birds. That is what as Manco Inca, the puppet king. No anymore puppet.
Right.
So from Cusco, he escaped, passing through Chinchero, Huayllabamba, and finally Ollantaytambo. Chinchero and Huayllabamba was burned by Manco Inca as well. And then, so they won in 5 years every single battle in Ollantaytambo because Ollantaytambo was defendable as well. And finally, they figured out Ollantaytambo was very close, only one day hiking from Cusco. That's why they decided to move far away from Cusco because Cusco was already taken by the conquerors. So that mountain range is called Vilcanota mountain range. Every one of them they escaped behind that mountain range is going an Inca trail to Vilcabamba, to the refuge town. So located over there, Vilcabamba, like 6 days away from here. So probably when Manco Inca arrived to Vilcabamba, he sent messengers, runners, in some situation chasquis, runners practically, to tell to everyone who used to live in these villages, like, I don't care what are you doing, every one of you have to be part of that resistance. So once they got those news, everyone begins to pack up their belongings and then they move it probably to Vilcabamba to be part of that resistance. That's how probably Machu Picchu was abandoned. Exactly as a theory, we know Machu Picchu was abandoned suddenly, but there are 5 interesting questions. Exactly, we don't know where they go, yeah, in which direction, when was that, or how, or to where. Exactly, as well, we don't know what kind of people live in Machu Picchu. Quite mystery. Every question that you have brings you to a huge question. But it's quite interesting because we have theories, hypotheses, ideas, but nothing true. That's why probably is considered one of the 7 wonders. And then, let's say Machu Picchu was abandoned after that revolution, probably in 1539, 1540, 45, we don't know. But since that time until 1911, there is almost 400 years. 4 centuries, Machu Picchu was hidden by plants, by vegetation, by trees. Machu Picchu was discovered accidentally by this man, Hiram Bingham, the scientific discoverer of Machu Picchu.
Yeah, I can't imagine stumbling upon this.
It's
just crazy.
So he was a professor in Yale University.
Okay.
He was an anthropologist. And thanks to that occupation, he was studying the life of Simon Bolivar. Simon Bolivar is one of our liberators in South America. That was in 1920s.
Right.
Oh, sorry, 1820s. 1820s. So, yes, 100 years later, he came to study his life of Bolivar. Practically from US, from Yale University, he moved to Venezuela because Simon Bolivar was from Venezuela.
Mm.
So his challenge began in
Venezuela.
Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, finally Peru. When he got it close to the equatorial line, yes, he found Inca remains like this, Inca terraces, Inca buildings, Inca temples as well. Evidences of Inca civilization. Was quite interesting, those buildings, and when he asked the local people about those Inca remains, the Ecuadorian people say, Professor Bingan, I guess you have to go to Cusco. Because at that time as well, the Ecuadorian people, they already know Cusco was the capital of the Inca civilization. With that recommendation, he moved directly from Ecuador Lane to Lima. He introduced by himself to our ex-president like an anthropologist, archaeologist, and historian person. I mean, he lied on his profile. It still was possible to lie 100 years ago. So, thanks to that, they signed a contract. On that contract, they mentioned everything that professor will find on this expedition had to be studied abroad. So Professor Bingan, he found in this expedition more than 40,000 items. Ceramics, utensils, potteries, tools, artifacts, even bodies, 164 bodies. Through this valley, from Cusco, asking the local people about Vilcabamba, the refuge town. He was looking Vilcabamba, of course, with cartographer maps, with notes, even chronicles on his back. So he came through this valley and he met with local people. Exactly 4 families know about the existence of this Inca city. 4 families. One of them lived in the side of the mountain. No, at the very bottom. Where is the main entrance? At there. Family Alvarez. One of them, the second one, this side of the mountain, at the very bottom, but next to the river level. And then 2 of them behind Machu Picchu mountain. Exactly 4 families. But those 4 families, they don't have the contact of the government. They were simple farmers. No sponsors like Professor Bingan or no National Geographic, right? So the scientific discovery is higher than Bingan, but as I told you, many local people know about the existence of this Inca city. Even Anacleto Alvarez was living exactly in Machu Picchu. And he provided his son, yes, when he climbed up with the local people called Arteaga. They crossed the river like this, with wooden beams, and then they climb up all the way up. So Anacleto Alvarez, he provided his son as a guide. Yeah. Pablito Alvarez, the first guide considered in Machu Picchu. This guy, 11 or 10 years old.
What year was that?
Pablito Alvarez. He was the precursor. Yeah, that was in 1911. The precursor of our occupation. Yeah. The easy way to clean up all that vegetation was with fire. So Professor Bingan, he burned some angles.
Oh, damn.
That was in 1912. But when he discovered in 24 July, he took more than 100 pictures of Machu Picchu. And then still was looking at El Dorado, the town made of gold. Vilcabamba, for example. He followed as well. He was keep going through this valley 4 days later, he discovered Vilcabamba. But Vilcabamba was destroyed by the conquerors because the conquerors arrived to Vilcabamba in 1572. Was destroyed like 40 or 60%. It wasn't expected that village like that. That's why he came from Vilcabamba to Machu Picchu.
Okay.
And on the title of that book that he wrote, he mentioned the lost city of the Incas. That's why Machu Picchu became very famous. Because
So the guide was saying that in about 5 years, where persons are standing over there and where we're about to go, we will no longer be able to stand because some of the places will be viewpoints only because they started slipping. So if you've been watching my channel, I'm just kidding. If you remember the trip to Tulum, when I posted, most of the things was kind of bad off because I guess for the same reason they want to preserve it for the next generation, and the stuff started slipping. So you know, it's only going to be a viewpoint only, so we're not going to be able to walk on the any different places.